Hello guys, welcome to Inside Electronics. So in today's episode I'm going to show you guys something that is really bad, and yet it has given a really good name of power savers. I mean, these things, if you search for power savers on YouTube, you will get a lot of videos about a lot of people making, magically making the power consumption going down by measuring the voltage, the amperage across terminal using a clamp meter or something, and they are actually plugging in something, and they're instantly getting the voltage reduced. The meter reading goes down really quick to an unrealistic value. Just if you have any sort of sense, if you have any sort of knowledge in electronics, you can. I mean, come on, just live, get a life, people. Those, I'm not talking about you, the viewers. I'm talking about the people who are making such kind of foolish videos, because they are actually trying to scam people and forcing them to buy crap load like this. And when talking about this thing, this is actually made by a company called that. I'm not going to say the names or anything, because I don't want to promote these kind of crap things at all. These are really bad things, and I don't recommend you buying any of these. And that alone will let you know that this thing is not sponsored by anything. And I'm having not just one, but I'm having two. Yeah, that is double bonus. See, I'm not able to show you guys the complete thing on the frame. I'm having two of the exact same units. One is brand new. This one is brand new, untouched, unopened box, and this one has a little surprise inside. So let's take a look at the packaging for this thing. I'm not going to, as I mentioned, I'm just going to let you know the price of this. 2,100 rupees for a piece of absolute ridiculous. Yeah, this thing is really bad. For 2,000 rupees, that's like how much? Like $30 or something. And for that much amount of money, you're getting nothing, and you're getting absolutely nothing. And let's unbox the brand new one first of all. So here it is, the unboxed, untouched box. I'm going to open that right in front of the camera, and we are greeted with this thing right here, which is an instruction manual. Yeah, exactly. If I'm going to adjust the zoom a little bit more so you can freely read that if you want to. So I'm not going to read through that anyways, but I can assure you that if you read that completely, you can actually get a master's degree in English. Just kidding. That's the first page done. That is the second page. Ooh, look at that. Before installation, after installation. Ooh, that's really cool. When using plug into any socket, no need of maintenance, blah 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 blah. What is this thing? Plug the electricity saved box onto any socket at time according to electric appliance quantity loading can use on several stanzas. Who wrote this thing? I mean, seriously? They're talking about DC voltages and this thing operates on AC? What? And it is rated for 3 kilowatts? Don't even dare to plug this in on 230 volts, else this is going to happen, which I will show you. So I hope you got enough time to actually go through the instruction manual. If you find anything funny in that, just mention that in the description down below. That's a crap thing that you get with it. Probably the one who written this thing hasn't even qualified the 10th examination, I can assure you, because usually that's the case when it comes with instruction manual that is with the power saver things. And there is one thing that I forget to mention. There is a lot of videos regarding power savers in all across YouTube, but there is a reason why I decided to do a video about this thing. It is because the other channels that have already made a video about the power savers, they were all using the power savers that is made in China. But in my case, I'm using a power saver that is, where it is manufactured in, focus you idiot, it's It's manufactured, it's made in India anyways. So let's take a look at what surprise do an Indian made power bank, I mean not a power bank, power saver does rather than a Chinese thing. So it says caution, burst for 3 kilowatt load, 220 volts AC, and blah blah blah. That's it. That's the device. It's still untouched. The everything is still intact. In fact, so if I plug this in, it is supposed to. If I'm going to plug this in front of the camera, so if anything happens, it happens. I mean, the LED light is on and nothing seems to be happening, but I'm pretty sure that I can show you a surprising little thing. If I unplug, this thing has a protective coating on it, because if I show you the first thing right here, it uses the word electricity saved box. They are really true with what they were saying. I mean, this thing is actually acting like electricity saved, like saving in a computer. I'm going to show you why in a moment. Let me find something metallic right there. A screwdriver, right? I'm going to turn this off, and real quick I'm going to take that out and see that? Did you guys see that? I'm just going to do that once again real quick. Plug that in, turn it on, and take it out. Not this time, no luck this time. Once again plugging it in, light LED is on. See that? This thing is actually a capacitor inside, and without a proper discharging resistor. There's a reason why I'm telling these things are really bad. Do not ever buy this thing, because you are actually going to die from this rather than saving money from this. And this thing, as you can see, it's untouched, it is unused. So I have another one right here which is going to look exactly the same, but it has a hidden surprise. This is the one that was actually used in my home, and this thing, I'm looking for a date code. There has to be a date code somewhere. Let me see if I can find a date code in the instruction manual. Is there any date code? Yeah, there it is. It says March 2011. So yeah, 6 years old. And you guys hear that rattling sound inside? That is because this thing has also exploded. And this thing exploded, this exploded not because of the power surge that I was mentioning in my couple of other videos. This thing exploded way before. As you can already see, this thing is dated in 2011. So it's exploded in 2011 itself, and I was just keeping this in my attic. So these are also in my attic find series. So basically what these things are in theory are power factor corrector. It says it right there, single phase power factor corrector. So power factor is not something that I can describe in just one video, but in a nutshell, it is the difference between the voltage and the current waveform. In a pure AC based application, you have both the voltage waveform and a current waveform. So the difference between the AC voltage and the difference between the voltage waveform and the current waveform is going to be the power factor. For a power factor, it's going to be a power factor 1, which is exactly the same. The voltage waveform will be exactly on top of the current waveform. So if there is a difference, that is actually the power factor. The higher the power factor, like the closer it is to unity, the better it is. If it is much less, it is actually creating a lot of issues. And there is another reason why these kind of things are really bad. In India, people usually houses are not charged for the apparent power. When a difference in the power factor occurs, there is something called true power and apparent power. Apparent power is something that everything electrical, that this thing has a lot of things that has to be discussed. And in fact, people like Dave Jones from EEV blog, and I think Big Clive also has made a video about how this thing works. Even Great Scott has made a video about how this thing works and how good it is, and they're actually using mathematical things and CRO and things like that to actually show you guys in reality how this thing works and if it's any good or not. So I do recommend watching those videos also. So explaining all about the power factor and the everything that that associated with that thing is really beyond the scope of this video. So basically what this thing claims to do is it actually claims that it brings the voltage and current waveform together so that the power factor will be back much more closer towards the unity. And that can only be happen if your house is filled with inductive loads like motors, vacuum washing machines and vacuum cleaners and things like that. It's certainly not going to happen with the resistive loads like bulbs and things like that. And also if you are using some things that has the switching power supplies inside, for example, like usually your phone charger, the CFL lamps, everything that is electronic nowadays is using some sort of SMPS things for their operation, and those kind of things will not work in a good way with the power factor corrector. So basically in India people are charged, houses are usually charged for their true power consumption. They are not being charged for apparent power. And what this thing does is this thing tries to reduce the apparent power consumption. So in a normal household appliances, household uses, reducing the apparent power will not give any bonus or any and it will not do any good on your electricity bill, because it is not what you are charged for. You are actually charged for what you are actually truly consuming. This thing can actually be useful for in industries, because in industry they are actually being charged for apparent power also, and governments are trying to implement new rules forcing them to correct their power factor close to unity, because if the power factor is way off, it is creating a lot of stress in the entire power grid. See, the power factor is an entirely large topic that needs to be discussed on a separate video. So enough of talking, let's open this rattling thing inside. But unfortunately these things uses rivets. They are not using any screw or anything, they're using rivets to hold on. So I'll be back once I take off those rivets and reveal the inside of this thing. So I'm going to pause for now, and I'll be back once I take out all those rivets.